if you videotape yourself rolling a die 100 times, that sequence of numbers was random when you actually rolled the die, right? But if you rewind and play the tape back, you'll get the exact same sequence of numbers. And that's what we're going to do here. I'm just going to pass 1 as the seed. Okay. And the benefit of this is that we're going to get a sequence of secret codes that will seem random, but every time we run the program, we're going to get the same sequence. So it'll help us while we're debugging to be less predictable. If you want this to be as random as possible, you simply remove this 1, and that will use the current time as the seed, which of course every time you run the program, the current time is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to get a completely unpredictable sequence of secret combinations, which is good. But I'll leave it this way for now. Now, this doesn't in of itself create any random numbers. We simply created the die. Okay, that's what it looks like. So now what I want to do is I want to create a new button. I'm going to call it BTN new. It's going to say new code. Okay. Double click so I can create its click handler. Now what I want to do here is I want to generate the secret code using our fake die, our virtual die. Now you would hope that you can do something like this. You can say secret1 is equal to, and how do we create we want to generate a new number. So we call it, we first type the name of our die, which is rand. Remember we created our random variable up here. It's called rand, right? And because rand is an object, to access its members, we type a period, and one of its methods is called next, and next gets the next value in the pseudo-random number sequence. So it gets you a random number. And this one has 3 overrides, and the one that we want is this one. That will give us a number between 0 and max value minus 1. That's odd, I can't display that. Well, anyway, so we have 6 colors, so we're going to type 6 for the max value. And what this will do is it'll give us a number between 0 and 5 inclusive. Okay? So it will never give us 6. It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So that is 6 different values, but it starts at 0. So you have to remember that. Now, will this run? No, we have a problem. The error is cannot implicitly convert type int to system drawing color. If I double click on this error, it'll take me directly to here, this code that I just wrote. I cannot assign a number to a color. Okay, so let's go back to set color ifs. let me show you what I really want. What I really want is whatever number I roll by calling rand next, I want each of the 6 possible values, 6 possible numbers that I get to correspond to one of these colors that I want. Okay? So say if I roll 0, I want it to be red. If I roll 1, I want it to be dark orange, and so on. So sounds like we need to create another function that looks a lot like setColorIfs that will take in an integer, one that we randomly generated here, and will return the actual color that we want. Okay? So I'm going to create this function right, actually I'm going to create it right above button new, right here. Okay? Can do it here because in this zone right here, we're not inside any function. So I'm going to say private. Now this one's going to return a value. It's going to return the color. I'm going to say get color, and I'm going to call it getColorIfs. And I am going to pass it an integer n. Okay. So now we're going to do the if-else-if construct, but we're going to use numbers. So if n is equal to 0, we want to return color.red. Now what does return mean? Well, as I said here, when I declared this function, I said that it will return a value of type color. So we want this function, it's almost like a little math function. A math function takes one or more numbers and it spits out a result. So that's what this function does, is it takes a number, which we're going to hope that it's going to be between 0 and 5, and it's going to return the color that corresponds to that number. Okay? And to have the function return the value, we use the keyword return. Okay? Now there's something interesting about this return. When the computer executes this return function, it takes, if there's a value that follows it, it returns that value to the code that called it, and it exits the function right here. So if it executes this return, it will not execute anything else in this function. So what does that mean for us? It means that if n is not 0, okay, we don't execute this, and we simply move on. Okay. If n was 0, then we execute this, and we exit the function no matter what. So what it means for us is that even though we technically could add an else if right here, you know, and check for the next value, say n is equal to 1, we don't have to. We do not need this else, because unlike in the setColorIfs function, once one of these if statements is true, we exit the function immediately. It's 2, it'll be dark orange.